Okay, someone was asking about where I got the idea for the boxed windways that I've been playing around with, like on my carbony whistles, creating these raised walls to enhance the low register. And they came from Copeland whistles. They're a conical bore whistle. They're typically made of brass or nickel, um, and they are. I don't know if he's the one that came up with that idea or if he just discovered it and applied it to his work, but it was just a way to improve the strength of the low register, and I think it actually increases the volume across the entire whistle range. Um, but it's been really useful. Hans Bracker was another whistle maker at one point that employed the box windways. So anytime I see a whistle that plays very easily in the upper octave, that tends to favor the upper octave and kind of has a little bit of a weakness on the low end, I would say that's a good candidate for this experiment. So what I like to do is I take this Scotch mounting putty, or I used to call it sticky tack when I was a kid, uh, or blue tack, some depending on your region, and you just take a lump of it. It sticks pretty easily, but it comes right off, so it's completely non-destructive, which is fantastic for experimentation. And you just stick. Let me play this first, I guess. So I take my sticky tack, my poster putty, mounting putty, whatever you call it, and then like kind of center it, and then the idea is you don't want to actually get it in the windway. You just want to surround the windway on three sides, and you want to get it, like, line it up with the three sides, like get it right up to the edges of the, and this is going to be a very thick windway to demonstrate the effect, and it's kind of goofy looking, but you will get the idea. So this is what I have, and all I'm doing is I'm molding it to match the windway shape, and then once I've got it pretty much in place, I can kind of flatten out this underside here, and I can kind of mash it into shape. And then you play it, and if it's too strong, if the effect is too strong, you can flatten this down. But you basically, I think the only place that you might want to exceed, to go over and you can play around with this yourself, but at the very top, you can actually go a little bit into the windway, and that further increases the strength. You probably don't want to go too far, but again, you can mash it all the way into the windway and see what happens, or you can pull it out. Like it's completely up to you. So here it is with a very hefty wall. So you can hear. That's significantly louder and stronger. If I mash it down, the smaller the windway, the less of an effect that it has. The other effect that it has is it flattens the pitch on the entire whistle. So if you make any sort of permanent change, or you are experimenting and you want to play with someone else, you're going to have to sharpen or use your tuning slide. If you don't have a whistle with a tuning slide and you do this, your whistle will just be flat. So you have to have the ability to sharpen the tone. Otherwise, it's just going to be out it'll go flat. So yeah, so this is, take it off. Becomes a much more delicate whistle again. This is something actually interesting I was playing around with. This is the Goldfinch Low D. I think these are kind of narrow bore. And so they play really nicely. They take very little breath. But they are you can't lean into them very much, and they don't have a lot of volume. So I was messing around with this, and I thought, well, I'll try it on the Goldfinch right here. And that has such a nice tone. I love the Goldfinch whistles. So again, I'll take my mounting putty, and I'm just going to smash it along the edge of the Windway here. You can see, just again, it's stuck down, and then I'm kind of pinching this to give it some additional height. So you kind of see that, and then so I'm just making sure it's right along the edges of that Windway. Maybe even slightly push it down over it. Let's see what that does. It's a very powerful low D now. Although it's clogging a little. Cool, huh? Let's take it off. So there's a delicacy that I like without this the wall on it, but it's also nice to have like a thunderously powerful low D whistle. So I really like the idea of the walls, because it gives you just another tool to kind of fine tune whistles, like especially when like the Goldfinch whistles in particular, you have the heads are very similar, and the tube diameter. So you've got like an F whistle with the same diameter as a low D, and typically what happens, the lower you get, if you maintain the same diameter, is it starts to favor the upper octave, and the low end starts to get weaker and weaker. So on the F, and on the other end, the wider you go, the harder it is, the stiffer the upper octave gets. It gets more and more difficult to get into the upper octave, but the lower end becomes more powerful. So the F is more of a wide bore. And Goldfinch actually does a good job with matching the heads to the bodies. They actually make slight adjustments to the heads, because there are other things that you can do to balance out the whistle. So the makers that use like one head and multiple bodies, you're not getting the same sort of fine tuning that the Goldfinches have. But even then, there's a difference. There, you can tell there's a difference between the way that they play. That's some of that narrow bore versus wide bore characteristic. So throw on a so once you start adding the wall to this stuff, then that gives you almost the ability to compensate a little bit for the fact that it's you're not changing the bore diameter or the bore of the whistle. So this looks like a mushroom. So anyway, it's just a fun thing. I hope that's informative. Hopefully I did it on the A too. I was messing. Anyway, I'm gonna take this off. I hope you found that interesting.